So
Absolutely.
can we go back to something you mentioned at the beginning of the show, Bobby, which was working for free? Uh, we haven't talked about what people can expect to get paid for these things, how they should set prices for the different types of syncs that they would be getting, and when are the right times for you to say, you know what, or if somebody says, I'd love to have your music on my actor reel, but I can't afford to pay you because, I work at a restaurant waiting tables. I'm not wealthy. Do you give it away at that point? When do you know?
Well, I mean, we should definitely, this is something we should definitely talk about.
Do you want to? Do you have more of these to go?
Yeah. No. Let's talk about this. But definitely, we have like maybe two more to do. But since you asked, let's just jump on it. I first want to make it very clear that, I mean, we could have a conversation, or this could be a whole session on, the value of music and the free, and that could be a whole nother discussion. And I know that a lot of people can get very passionate about this kind of conversation. So I want to make it really clear that what I'm saying is that in the very, very beginning, when you're starting out, oftentimes the experience is the pay. And a lot of times when people put pay first before experience, they are never given the opportunity for the experience. So, I definitely don't want to make this like a value of music conversation, because that's not what I mean. I totally think that music should be paid for and it should be valued. But there's a time when, you do have to be an intern, or you do have to, put yourself out there.
When it's time to start charging, how do you know what to charge?
Yeah. Michael, you want to take that?
I love the way you
Of course, yeah. I love that it was like this. It was like the hook, right? Well, first on that, because I think this is important too. Just as that is an important thing, because I totally agree with you. We've all been the Boy Fridays. I mean, it's impressive that you were like, "Ooh, wow," when you read off like Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys. But I mean, like, I was literally like getting people's lunches and coffee. I mean, it wasn't incredibly glamorous, okay? But I mean, what I think in those conversations where they don't have money, I think what is really important for us to be communicating to anyone that anybody is dealing with is that music has value. So maybe they don't have money, but craft the discussion in such a way that they feel that there is at least a value exchange. Like, hey, I understand in your film that you don't really have you don't have any money, but hey, I don't really have a lot of credits, so I'd love the connection, but you know what, in case your thing gets really successful, I want to make sure that like I get to own all my music. You're not going to take any publishing. I'll keep my publishing. I want to have, the credit at the end of the movie, and maybe if it's like an opening or end title song, you can try to get as big of a credit as possible, maybe compared to the other music. Like, make sure that there is some exchange so that the lesson is taught of music does have value. Maybe it's not necessarily in the form of green, George Washington things or whatever, but it's like, as long as everyone feels that there's a value exchange, then we're not going to lose down the line.
And I arranged what's known as a step deal. When a director approached me and said, I want to use your music, but we don't have any money. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, you can use it for purposes of showcases, film festivals, and that type of thing. But if you get a distribution deal at any point, then it has to be renegotiated. So,
but I guess to your point of like, how do you know what to charge? I mean,
is it $25 or $2,500?
Look, the good news and the bad news about the world of sync is that it's the wild, wild west. You can kind of do whatever feels right. So, I think it's ultimately about communication of what, like in your example, what do you charge? So like, all right, well, how much other music are you using? Am I the only one? Are there other people? Are the other songs being used in the same way in which my song is being used? If so, then maybe we can do what's called a most favored nations thing, where everybody's getting paid the same. So, oh, you only have $500, well, I typically get 5,000, but I'm okay with 500 as long as I know your 4 other songs that you're using in the film are also getting 500.
And
like, let's
5,
all be treated treated
Yeah.
equally.
Yeah.
I mean, there's almost no general answer to that, in the sense that every project that we all deal with is different. And yes, of course, if it is a TV show that's produced by a major studio or a film produced by a major film, we do kind of know, kind of just going in, what that range is. And there's lots of different books on the subject. I think I even maybe address it in a ballpark range in the 5-Star Makeover publishing chapter I did. I know Bobby addresses a bunch of other books. They have the Braybecks, Music, Money, and Success, that kind of thing. But I think still, again, it's all about communication and making it easy for your thing to get used. You need to also make sure that you're not ever going to, be perceived as if you're not sticking up for what you do and that what you do has value. So, you were talking about your social IQ and so much of these sort of discussions are, if someone is an incredibly shy wallflower, they're not going to be really good about having that conversation. So then maybe you need to know that you got to bring in somebody else to just sort of like, hey man, so I love that you want to use my song. What do you feel you have in the budget? Oh, you only have that? Well, let's think about different ways. Or, if there isn't that much money, but, my song is an important part of your film, maybe you can give me some footage that I could use in a music video. Right. So that we have a little bit of a barter, and I'm promoting your film when I'm promoting my video and vice versa.
An actor reel. I mean, that's going to get seen thousands of times over a period of a few years. Having a music credit in the lower left, like, an MTV style credit for the music, great exposure.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just you got to take each situation different, but you just need to assess. It's almost sort of like, you have something that I want. I now want something. I need something that you have. If that's money or money and a combination of something else, I think before you go in knowing and being able to articulate what they can give you that brings you that value,
Let's do a mock negotiation. You're a musician. I'm Stormy Daniels. I need your music.